Hello everyone and welcome back to more AEW on TEW 2020. We are here in the second week of May, starting off with our Dark and our Being the Elite. Start off with the Young Bucks, they do their intro thing, what a surprise. Then we have Kurt Angle seen with his entire team, all of his boys and girls, and they're in their own little locker room, and Kurt says, alright guys, I don't think Taz can really do all that much against us, but we're the tag team champs, and Zack and Charles can easily help out in the tag division, and by themselves, and we can hold the tag titles for years to come, but I don't want to take Taz lightly, so we gotta go over our game plan. So, kind of, it zooms out, we scroll over, we see that there's a whiteboard, there's a bunch of, strategy stuff, or whatever, a little bit of goofy Kurt Angle things, because Kurt Angle, he can be pretty good at being goofy. And then he starts discussing the strategy a little bit when he notices the camera. He says, look, I'm sure Taz doesn't even watch PT, nor would any of his guys, but he can't be anything but cautious. So, he sends out Layla to, he sends Layla Hirsch out to make sure that the cameras aren't getting any of the strategy talks, and Layla does listen. She, she understands why she's being sent out instead of any of the four guys, but, she's cracking her knuckles, trying to intimidate the cameraman a little bit. Nothing too serious, I guess. And after that, we just have our Dark Order stuff. No Brody Lee this time. He's available, just didn't want him to be involved with the Being the Elite stuff. Or the Dark Order stuff on Being the Elite. Whatever. Top Flight then defeats Dallas Mantello and Benjamin Carter. Top Flight now has Matt Hardy as their mentor. Or as their coach, as their mentor, as their manager. Whatever you want to say. They do pretty good. Dallas Mantello, he is still very new. He is a regen. So he is still working on actually not being terrible. After this, Shotzi Blackheart and Utami Hayashishita defeat Rosemary and Raven Creed. Rosemary just under the performance of the night. Raven Creed really behind everyone else. Mayu Iwatani defeats a debuting Silesia Sparks. Big Swole defeats Elena Black. Kip Sabian defeats Joey Janela. Garza Jr. defeats Shima. And Helico defeats Austin Gunn. Then we have the next episode of The Waiting Room with the Executive Vice President, Cody Rhodes. Britt asks Cody about the claims that Tony has made about the new member of the executive staff, as well as the new signing for Team Taz. And Cody says, I do know everything that Tony's been doing. He still is one of the EVPs. Presumably, him, Kenny, and the Young Bucks know all about what's going on with signings. Maybe they intentionally kept Coda a secret from Kenny. Maybe I'll make that into a storyline at some point. I don't know. But Cody says, he knows everything about that, and the past few weeks of negotiations have been, they've been busy for him. That's why Cody hasn't shown up, because he has been negotiating with this EVP and the new member of Team Taz, as well as one more big debut that will be appearing at Double or Nothing. But both of those, actually all three of those new debuts have asked that their identities remain secret until they can debut. He hypes up Double or Nothing is going to be a good show, because he is going to end the war between him and Mr. Brody Lee, between him and the Dark Order, because that feud's been going on for a while and hasn't really gone anywhere, to be honest. So, he's just bringing it on, he's saying, hey, this war's going too long, and both of them will be in the Casino Battle Royale, so even if it's not necessarily not necessarily the biggest match, biggest way to end the feud, I think probably that will be starting to end things off with it. Because, again, I haven't really done too much with that feud. I can definitely do more with the Nightmare Family. For example, doing less with the Nightmare Family. That makes sense, you know, breaking apart some members of the Nightmare family. Doing more stuff with the Dark Order for sure. It's really the only one I've given any storylines to have been Brody and Anna Jay. And with the Nightmare family, only Cody and Jordan Grace. So I definitely need to work on a little bit more with that. So hopefully in the near future I will actually get better booking. I'm resetting everything again. Not necessarily like a hard reset, but checking over things again after Double or Nothing. I do this every pay-per-view, but you know, redoing all of the records, redoing all of the storylines, seeing how things go from there, seeing how I can progress things, because it was a long time between Revolution and the week after Revolution, so I didn't really remember all of the plans that I had, at least in terms of my recording, of course, obviously, you know, and also in terms of the uploads. That's another story, but yeah. After this, Bandito and Dragon Lee defeat the Cross Brothers, and they are a very good tag team in the ring. And then Ricky Starks defeats Nat Murphy to end off our show of Dark. Our show of Dynamite begins with Jeff Hardy defeating Jonathan Gresham with a Swanton Bomb. Of course, Dynamite always got to start off with a match, and honestly, I'm surprised by how poorly Jeff Hardy is doing, but then again, he is also, like, in his 40s, so fair enough. After the match, Pac comes to the ramp, and then he lets the video of Jeff Hardy in the waiting room on last week's Dark. Of course, this is airing in the last week, not the Dark that was just recorded, to be attached to this episode on the YouTube. You know, in kayfabe, it's the one that would have aired, like, a few days before. Whatever. And Pac says, "You want a challenge for my title, Jeff? You've certainly heard what I said to Jericho, and the same will be said to you. I don't care about these so-called legends of the business. Legends are always meant to die. Legends are always meant to fade. And while you may be the inspiration for so many little kids out there making highlight moment after highlight moment, doing everything for the sake of selling your merch, I'm someone that takes no prisoners. I am someone who wants to win. And that is why I am champion. That's why I haven't been let go for being bad, for being old, for being unreliable. I'll accept your challenge at Double or Nothing. Records don't matter yet. That's why I can take you down and take your career down, Jeff." So yeah, Jeff Hardy, he had last week made a proclamation that he was going to challenge for Pac's TNT Championship. Pac is accepting that because until our new EVP comes in, our new kayfabe head booker comes in, records still aren't really mattering. We can just say that's something up to the Cody regime. I don't know, if we want to be cynical about it. We'll have more stuff on that EVP in a little bit, however. After this, Renee Paquette is backstage with Garza Jr., and she announces him as another entrant to the Casino Battle Royale. Garza says, "I won't deny that some of the other already announced participants have their advantage over me experience-wise, but it's only experience-wise. I mean, most of them have been in the wrestling business for years now, and almost all of them are past their primes. Of the ones that have been currently announced, I have no worries about any of them. Of course, when I get my win and get my revenge on that annoying, pompous, wannabe god, MJF, it won't be as beautiful as you, Renee." Then Garza kisses Renee's hand, and Renee is kind of just confused by this. She announces that Lance Archer, Sammy Guevara, and Jacob Fatu have also been announced for the Casino Battle Royale. So, Garza, you've been announcing 4 members per week, 4 members of the Battle Royale for the past few weeks. Out of 25, we are, again, I believe I've mentioned this before, changing up the Casino Battle Royale. It's just going to be a 25-man, sort of Royal Rumble style, just because, I mean, I like the idea of the Casino Battle Royale, where you have people coming in groups, but it's also not the most logistically efficient. It kind of does clutter things up a little bit too much, so not going to go for the full 30 because that's an exact replication, and also, not for the main event of WrestleMania. Nah, it's probably just going to be a title match on Dark, or not on Dark, on Dynamite or something. So, yeah. After this, Kyrie Hoja defeats Leva Bates. Just real quick, just get Kyrie on there, and probably a little bit more importantly, as Kairi is celebrating, Tony Schiavone comes up from the commentary desk and he walks to the middle of the ramp, and he says, "I have an announcement from Tony Khan. The AEW's Women's World Championship will be contested in a fatal 4-way match between Kairi Hojo, Mayu Iwatani, Hikaru Shida, and the reigning champion Kana. This match has been made official for Double or Nothing by the new Executive Vice President and Head of Talent Management, and before Tony can actually say who it is, Kana's music begins to play, and the champ, she walks up, she steals the mic from Schiavone, and says that she can easily take on everyone here, and if someone, like, if, say, Shida were to pin Kairi, that might even be what she uses as an example, that she demands an immediate rematch because, she didn't lose the title. Ashley Flair's music then hits, she comes down, and she says that immediate rematches aren't allowed, and it's the only reason that she isn't in the match as well. Kana and Flair stare at each other. They almost kind of ignore Kairi, admittedly, who's still just in the ring. And Schiavone says, like, hey, I'm not actually allowed to say anymore. I'm contractually obliged that I can't say anymore. Maybe he even was like, yeah, I was probably, maybe even at a later point in the show, was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have even gotten the chance to get that close to saying who it was that is our new head of talent management. Again, that's just kind of our fancy way of saying that they're the new head booker. Again, just in kayfabe, I'm still playing as Cody, but we are bringing this new person in to be our in-universe head booker. Again, you still have your booking, but you still have all of, like, I'd assume that Kenny, Cody, and the Young Bucks, all the EVPs, they're still in charge of booking. I assume that's what they kind of do. Tony Khan still has final say over things. You have your booking team in general, but, we just have our new head of talent management that's coming in, and I'll just say that he is a proven member of his field. After this, we see what can only be described as a trailer for an upcoming signing for Double or Nothing. The trailer shows a sweeping landscapes, and it talks about wrestling royalty. Notice how this royalty is different from the others in AEW. Of course, we have had a recent influx of so-called wrestling royalty with Kana the Empress and Ashley Flair the Queen. And it just ends with the date of Double or Nothing and the words, "He is coming." So yeah, we do, as mentioned before, on Dark, we have actually 3 new debuts. We have our head of talent management, we have our member of Team Taz, and we have whoever is hyped up in this segment. I don't want to really say too much about who is debuting here. I feel like our head of talent management, we can probably, I'm guessing the comments can probably already guess who it is. There's people outside of the Discord that I've already told who all 3 of these signings are. We can probably have a good figure on who the new member of Team Taz is, potentially. I feel like I've left enough hints, or maybe not necessarily enough hints to be able to say for certain, but this one I do want to keep it very ambiguous as to who is actually in charge of this, but I will say that this vignette, this trailer, is for the biggest signing of the 3, in terms of how they will actually impact things on the screen. After this, Tenille Dashwood defeats Max the Impaler. It's a real short match. Then afterwards, Shotzi Blackheart runs into the ring, and she begins to attack Tenille, and then she's actually ready to, she doesn't actually quite get to Tenille yet. Deonna Purrazzo comes in from behind Shotzi, knocks her down enough, and begins to put a Fujiwara armbar onto Shotzi, as Tenille demands demands a mic. And then, you have refs come to the ring. They're trying to get Deonna to let up the Fujiwara armbar as Tenille starts to talk. I imagine that Tenille, she's taking this very slowly. She's being very methodical about this. Just very, very casually. She wants Deonna to have that armbar in as long as possible. Tenille says, "Shotzi, you're being a thorn in our side, and both of us are tired of it. We're gonna put you in your place at Double or Nothing, Blackheart. I don't give a damn what you have to do. I don't care if it's a handicap match, but we're both taking you down at Double or Nothing. Go ahead and find a partner if you want, or if you even can. All of your friends, all those people that you've wrestled with before against us, they're all at a bigger stage right now. So good luck finding that friend of yours." And then Tenille, I say throw down the mic. I'm now imagining that she just kind of like calmly sets it down. Deonna, she lets up the armbar, and both of them, they walk backstage very casually, very cockily, as Shotzi is writhing in pain, clutching at her arm, because she has been put into a Fujiwara armbar probably for about 2 minutes. A minute at least. Obviously, I feel like Deonna is someone who is trustworthy enough to be able to have, like, again, submission, peel back the curtain, wrestling's fake, guys. I feel like there's definitely some people who can be able to make something look like it is still at full effect, but it doesn't actually hurt all too much. I do imagine that Deonna is kind of doing a modified Fujiwara armbar just to make sure that it's not actually too painful for Shotzi. So that Shotzi's not actually injured by being in the armbar for this long. After this, Proud and Powerful defeat the Future when Ortiz submits Donnie Lambert. And pretty good match. I'm really looking forward to the Future getting better, by the way. I know Leo has some insane potential. Both of these guys have really good potential, by the way. I will just say that right away. I believe Leo, I think, has like somewhere in the 80s for star quality. Both of them have very good potential in terms of their mic work. Both of them have very good potential in terms of their in-ring work. I mean, they're not all too popular right now. They're already getting, 34s, 29s. Like, Nat Murphy, I probably pushed him a little bit too hard. Admittedly, I'm starting to cool off on him. He only got a 35 in one of his recent matches. And I think that's exactly equal with his pop. These guys are still very low on pop, and they're getting very nice ratings. After this, it cuts to backstage where a huge fight is happening. Kota Ibushi is beating down Chris Jericho. Shida is beating down Mendez with a kendo stick. Sammy Guevara and Ace Austin are attacking Cody Rhodes. But everyone is actually then interrupted by all of Brutality Inc., except for Pac. So, we have Dijak, we have the Hit Squad, we have Brian Pillman Jr., we have Killer Kelly. They come in, they beat down everyone. Santana and Ortiz make it a little bit too late, but, everyone else is knocked down. Maybe this could even be the entire Inner Circle is knocked down, plus Kota, plus Cody, plus Shida. It's just Brutality Inc. standing. They just walk past Santana and Ortiz, and Santana and Ortiz, they can't really do anything, They realize, hey, if we do something, we're gonna get our asses kicked. So they kind of just let Brutality walk by, Brutality Inc. walk by, before going on to check up on Jericho. After this, Darby Allin pins Frankie Kazarian with a coffin drop, a 76, very nice performance for Darby. And then MJF was on commentary for this, and he delivers a slow clap to Darby, and he taunts him before heading backstage. After this, the announcers run down our confirmed card for Double or Nothing, which right now we have Tenille and Deonna versus Shotzi Blackheart. We have the Casino Battle Royale. We have Chris Jericho versus Kota Ibushi. We have the Tag Team Championship between Private Party and FTR. We have the World Championship between Darby Allin and MJF. We have the TNT Championship between Jeff Hardy and Pac. Those are 6 matches that are confirmed so far. I did actually forget to advance the storyline for the TNT title match. That is one that I did forget. That's why we only have 5 notes there. But yeah, just real quick, they usually run down the card. We are still a little bit ahead of, maybe jumping the gun a little bit in terms of like a go-home show, but we're still getting more things confirmed. I still want to work on, right now we're only at 6 or 7 matches. We're only at 6 matches, that's what it is, right? Yeah, 7 matches. At 7 matches right now. I want to try to get that up a little bit because we are having a longer pay-per-view. So I do just kind of have to work through my storylines, see what I can make out of those, and just see how good we can do in terms of, because we'll have a lot of storylines actually advancing in the Casino Battle Royale, because we do have a lot of, for example, we have John Moxley's in there, we have Miro's in there, we have Adam Page's in there, we have Cody's in there, we have Brody Lee's in there, You know, we have the new person who's debuting for Team Taz is in there. We have some members of Team Angle in there already. We have a lot of storylines that will be going on. They won't be advancing all too much, but I do have to find some more matches, probably more on the women's side, in order to put on to the Double or Nothing card. I can probably even almost like jury-rig together a few real quick matches. Not necessarily, you know, surprise matches where it's like, hey, we're just adding these guys onto the show the day of the show. I can use these last 2 weeks to build up at least somewhat of a feud that I can probably, again, real quick feuds mainly. So I do have to double check who I all have marked down, because I do have a lot of people marked down for our Casino Battle Royale. So again, just kind of have to look through, see what I can really make of things, because again, I want to try to get up to, at minimum, I want to get 2 more matches. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. Double or Nothing 2020, I believe, did have 9 matches, and it would be a little bit shorter than this Double or Nothing will be. So, just kind of, you know, pulling back the curtain more. And in our main event, Jon Moxley pins Rey Fenix, but Phoenix does tear his quad. Bit unfortunate. But afterwards, Eddie Kingston, he was on commentary. He comes down and says that no matter what, he will get Moxley on his side. This is that his brothers, that his blood brothers, are more than just a brotherhood. They're more than just people who like each other. They're who they are together because they have something to prove to the world. Eddie's someone who's always been overlooked. He's never really gotten a fair shake in any major company. Butcher and the Blade have been passed on by a bunch of companies, you know, because they're told they're not fit for the big stage, especially, you know, Butcher, because he's very new to the wrestling business, and he is definitely on the older side. He's more, you know, he has the age of someone who should be a veteran if you're in wrestling, but he doesn't really have all that much experience. He's, you know, he's an outsider, we could probably even say, because he does have his band. The Lucha Bros have been told that they should just stay in the tag division, that they should stay in Mexico, which I doubt people are actually saying that, but honestly, the Lucha Bros are probably the ones who fit in with this mantra the least, but whatever. Fatu is someone who hasn't really gotten this fair shake too much in the big leagues. Yes, he does have MLW. I think he's actually the MLW champion right now, but, you know, he's still been overlooked by a bunch of other companies. He's still, you know, he's being overlooked here, and Eddie wants to change that. And Jon Moxley fits in perfectly with all of that. He fits this mantra the most because he's been pushed down the most out of everyone in this place, because he has enough talent to be the single best wrestler in the world, but he keeps being ignored and overlooked for people who fit the mold, who manage to stand up to that ideal that, you know, the big man wants, that the Titan wants, that, you know, WWE wants. We're kind of implying here, we're not outright saying it, because, again, this is AEW. We want to make sure that people know, hey, we're a different product. We're, you know, we're our own thing. We are, you know, yes, we do have quite a few people who are ex-WWE, and I will be honest, all of these debuts are ex-WWE, technically. One of them shouldn't really be too much considered ex-WWE, but because he was in the system for a while, honestly, both of them probably should be, but that's besides the point. You know, we have these people who are ex-WWE, you know, but that they're being pushed down and that they're finally being given a chance here. Eddie implores Moxley to join him, but Moxley just kind of ignores him. He leaves the arena as Ray checks on Phoenix, especially true now that Phoenix has torn his quad, and that ends the show with a very nice segment. Not too many good matches, but it's enough to do well for us. I think that big angle at the end, that big angle at the beginning, our ending of the show was very strong. Middle of the show, a little bit on the weaker side. You know, we did admittedly have kind of like an hour of pretty weak television. You know, we had a big confrontation between Asuka and Charlotte. Who would ever think that would happen? You know, we have basically three glorified squash matches, essentially, and it is mainly just building for the pay-per-view. But that's really just kind of besides the point. It's fine, it's whatever. But we will continue on with week 3 of May, and we'll see you what I can all put together for maybe getting 2 more matches onto Double or Nothing.